everyone. I don't know if you can hear us properly or not because this is set up very differently than either of our podcasts because I am currently in a lake house with Lobau. If you're watching this on my channel, you may have seen him a few times before. If you're watching this on Lobau's channel, then I really hope you recognise him. Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing on here? That's also made sure YouTube, if you're watching, I know you're not going to monetize the video. I don't care. Piss off. So yeah, I'm just here basically for New Year. We're waiting as it draws in. I think it's about 6, 7, 8 o'clock now. So we've got a few hours left.
Yeah, we got 3.5 hours.
Okay, we got 3.5 hours left. So New Year's has happened pretty much everywhere else in the world. We're just waiting for it to happen here. So you may, in the background, occasionally hear some fireworks going off. In the background, you're probably hearing some Christmas songs as well, because apparently that goes on over here. I don't know, but
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You'll notice my next podcast in my office after this one, nice and drab as usual. But yeah, so we're just doing a joint podcast because, as I say, we're in Lobau's lake house, so I am here in the US. I don't know if I can say the States.
Yes, you can say Florida.
We're in Florida.
You just can't say the place.
No, I wouldn't say the place, but yeah, I'm down here in Florida. I've been here for the past 19 days, so I've been here for Christmas and now on to the New Year as well. So yeah, this is the first time. Well, this isn't the first time. This is the first time we've met in real life. Jesus Christ. They're still saying him because I'm the editor for both channels, so he's got no fucking say. But this is the first time we've met in public properly. I've said it again. It's the first time we've met in real life properly. Too many P's. So yeah, we've just been hanging out, and so I've ended up here for New Year's Eve, and we thought, you know what, it's probably a good idea that we actually do a podcast together, given that's how we met. So, cheers. Cheers, indeed. And Lobau is making sure to bring the merch in there, but as you see, Lobau on the cup.
Trying my best.
Shopify, I'm sure if this is on his channel, you can find it somewhere.
100%. No, it's good. It's fun to do this because it's honestly, that's the whole premise of my belief is that friendship matters. That's literally my entire concept. So we're friends, we're hanging out, we're having a drink in front of a fire. That's it. That's all it is.
Any of the English people watching, I'm well aware, I am drinking Pimm's, and I know it's summer. I'm getting summer started early.
There you go. Exactly.
And any of my family that might be watching this, I am in front of a fire. I know. I am melting, but it's good. I can go outside in a minute.
The fire's gonna just overtake you.
It's just. I'll embed it like something out of.
I'm from Florida, and I can take the heat. He's from England, and it's too hot. Really?
I mean, Florida hasn't been though. Anyone that thinks Florida's Sunshine State, don't do it in December. That doesn't work. Apparently it rains a lot. Except for the last 2 days. Exactly, and they've both been the same temperature as southeastern England. I think it's just a lie. It's propaganda from.
Oh God!
It's the one thing that all of the news broadcasters over here can agree on. We just tell everyone it's real hot. And there's the fireworks that I mentioned that might happen.
I love it.
But yeah, the last podcast, at least on your channel, is people talking about the stress of Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of people hanging out anyway. So right. I think that's quite nice, the difference of the different podcasts like that.
Yeah.
For yours, because it fits a lot better.
It does. Because that's, I'm not here to tell anyone how to do anything or to say, oh, by the way, you have this, and I can diagnose this, and I can tell you why this is happening. All I do is just show up and tell you I love you and let's hang out. Like that's literally all it is.
Yeah, we need people like Piers Morgan and Andrew Tate to pretend to know what's going on for that.
Oh God.
So you can still have me on the show. That's fine. You scare me about as much as a wet sponge. But yeah, for me it's different. this type of podcast where I'm in person.
Right.
It's different. Well, it's happened once before.
My first one was with Guy Parker. where we were on.
You've done it a couple of times though, haven't you?
Twice. Mark Mailer and Guy Farmer.
Yeah.
And that's.
So go and check those podcasts out. They are in the playlist.
It's way more difficult because it's interaction instead of staring at a screen where obviously you have all the technology and all this kind of stuff. Now you actually have to communicate with a human being.
See that bit I can give a fuck. No, that doesn't bother me as much. It's genuinely, it's the fact that I can't regulate the audio. It's not the person being there.
All right.
I can't regulate unless you upscale it afterwards. And if you're listening to this, it's been upscaled. There's no fucking way I'm leaving the audio like this. But it's more about on a face-to-face on there, I have far more control because I don't have, because we're not, let's be honest, anyone watching this is being done, and any iPhone lovers out there, it's on a Samsung, right? This is literally being recorded on a phone. So, and last time I did an in-person, it was recorded on a phone. Was yours done the same way, or did you?
Actually, the first one, yes. The second one, no.
Okay, so you recorded
your
your
I brought my, like,
you brought everything out, okay.
Right.
So,
which I can do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like we're not doing what a lot of, because like you've got a lot of in-person podcasts out there, obviously, that spend, because it's the only thing they do, thousands and thousands on Shure mics, and you know, and they have everything there. I think it's more difficult for me to have that, which I spoke about all the time on my podcast and everything else, is the control taken away. Right. So it's just like I can upscale some things, but some things I just have to rely on. That's how it was, and that kind of pisses me off.
But isn't that all mental health?
Oh, control.
To a certain degree, it's all control. The second the control is ripped away in any slight way, we flip the fuck out.
Yeah. That's why.
No matter what issue it is.
Oh yeah.
And that's a massive problem. If you're in a relationship, if you have friends, and they take away control from you, you're like, well, what the fuck just? Like, yeah, I'm not. Because everything was going great.
I told you before. I got caught. Because this is the funny thing. Because your big thing with me a lot is that I have the answers to questions and things like that. Yeah. But I think I've said this to you before. Like I got told years ago by someone I knew who's a trained psychiatrist and psychologist that I was the biggest control freak he's ever known. Right. Because when I get into a conversation, if I didn't know the answer, I'd go away and learn it inside out or do a qualification in it. Right. So that's why I end up knowing things. It's probably because at some point I knew fuck all about it. Yeah. I was like, no, I can't, no, can't do that. It's like, I'll tell you what it is. It's a more extreme version of Joey from Friends. There's an episode of Friends where Joey is Penn Jillette, the magician Penn Jillette. It's his only cameo, I think, in Friends. And he comes in and is trying to sell him encyclopedias. And he talks about the fact of, like, have there been situations when your friends are talking where you haven't known what they're talking about? And it's like, that's what it is for me. It's like, I didn't know that. That's never happening again.
Right. Well, that can be a good thing is when you realize, like, I'm never going to let that happen again. I need to know this.
I think it probably just happened.
I will dog it to death.
It happened to... Clearly, what happened is it happened too goddamn much for me when I was younger. When I was a kid, I clearly do fuck all.
What's fun for me on this podcast, actually, is to be in real life. Like, this is the most relaxed I could be. When you get me on a fucking Zoom call and I'm worried about Wi-Fi and all this kind of shit, I'm panicking. I'm doing all those things. Right now, I'm comfortable as shit.
And this is why people think you're so much older than me. Good point. We're basically the same age, by the way. I know some of you are now putting your glasses on to check, but
I'm a lot more weathered. Okay, you can say that.
Yeah, clearly, I was wearing moisturizer when I was on the streets. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel more, but then I'm far more reclusive. Right. So I mean, during the lockdowns, I completely went online. Yeah. So like immediately went online, and I suppose I taught myself all of that immediately. And I'd been doing computers since I was like secondary school. Right. So I guess I just I could speed up to that quicker. Yeah. That's why I'm like, yeah, I can just do this. because I was on calls from like day one. Because I mean, as soon as
it's comfortable. It's comfortable to have that separation when, if it's online, you're not entirely obligated to that scenario. So there's no risk of, this person cares about me. I can't, I could upset them. I could not upset them. If I make a mistake, I can apologize. They can accept the apology. That online, there's a screen that separates you.
I think you're just making me nicer than I am. I don't think I give a fuck.
I think you're the nicest fucking loving person I've ever met.
You said about earlier where we don't diagnose delusion. That's there's disorders. I'm sure some of you can
But there's a certain great point to this: is when you're separated by a screen, that isn't real life until it is real life.
Oh, I see.
Yes, it's just not.
It's still real life though.
Well, it is, but until you actually meet that person face to face, you don't really know.
You do sound like someone's granddad now. Because that's it.
Hey, we're in Florida. I'm a granddad, okay?
You're probably the right age for a granddad in Florida. But I mean, it's just. I think it's more about. So to me, there's no difference to me at all between in real life and online, especially after lockdown. I mean, there's people who basically started relationships and have become married because of it. Right. But it's a bit, right, in the same way, if you're going to use that as a qualifier, I'd say the same argument can be had for people that are in a relationship, but they don't know until they live together. If we use that qualifier, I'll agree with it.
Okay, so, sorry, I was waiting for the border to explode.
What fucking X-Men powers did you have there? Be still.
My point to that is, you do make a good point. It is real. However, that's also like saying that, if you get into a relationship online with a woman or whoever your preferred partner is and all that kind of stuff, it's not the same as having sex in real life.
But then, what if it's but that's not what we're talking about.
Well, it kind of is. What it is if you meet someone in real life, it is way different than seeing them on screen. That is like, so Pamela Anderson, I was a huge fan, okay? Huge fan. I mean, I love her. I think she's hot as shit. But
I mean, she's
way different for me staring at her on a computer screen or her talking to me on a computer screen and then having her sit here in front of me.
Yeah, but that's sexual tension. That's different. What I'm saying is...
No, that's reality versus the computer.
No, that's sexual tension versus real life sexual tension. That's not the same. What I'm saying is you're being very specific about almost sexualized versions of it in real life.
Well, that's the only option that I can see as a...
I'm not sleeping with you like that. Okay, I'm just saying. What I'm saying
as my wife cooks us dinner.
But what I'm saying is, if you have someone that let's say you have someone that's, I don't know, you go to the pub every day.
Right.
The English? Yes. If you go to the pub every day and you meet someone, you say hello, end of the bar, and there's no fucking hugging, you have the same relationship as that.
Here, though. Like for example, the bar.
I mean, maybe in the north of England. But not in the south of it. If you went up to someone and just went, "Hey, you're all right," you'd probably get punched. So I mean, it's very different. So
that was the only example I can think of as separating the computer real life from the actual real life. That was my only example.
Yeah, I think
it's the whole.
To me, the only qualifier I'd agree with to me is if, like I said, if you had friends or a relationship that you went from, oh, we've been together for 6 months, to now we live together.
Right.
And so many people suddenly go, oh my God, I fucking hate you.
Right.
Because it's gone from, oh, we saw each other every day, every other day, great.
Yeah.
And now I have to actually see what you're like. Like, no. That, fair. Okay, that could be different.
And I think that's a huge qualifier in terms of like who you want to actually, devote a lot of time to is someone, whether it's a friend, a lover, a wife, girlfriend, whoever it is. If you can get to know that person on an actual level, then you know it's worth your time.
But, and so that would be the online first then?
Right, no, I'm not saying online.
No, I'm
not saying online is bad.
I was qualifying, not correcting.
What I mean is, like, you are every bit of yourself in real life as you are online, and I know that now.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little bit of just amazingness on your part, but
He's been drinking for a while.
No, I haven't. I've had like 2. There's
that I know about.
I went upstairs, had a couple.
The tequila's on the way, it's fine.
Yeah, but honestly, when you meet someone in real life, like I did Leo, like I did RJ, Carrie, all those people, they're the exact same.
Look at the playlist, but all of the podcasts for that.
Promotion. You're always promoting.
Yeah.
And now meeting you, you're the same too. And so that gives me comfort to go online again and say, you know what, I want to talk to this person. And you know what, I want to fucking meet that person.
But does that not just go against the point you just made?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
But that's what I do. I go against my
own
point.
You argue against yourself?
Yes, absolutely, 100% of the time, because unless I can argue with myself, I can't argue with anyone else.
This fucker just used a line that I taught him.
No,
yes, you did. No,
that was brilliant.
Knowing the argument against yourself so that you can know your own. Literally what I said. Anyway, I'm not getting into an argument.
Sort
it. The only thing he's remembered in a while, and he thought it was his own. That's why. Yeah, unlike online friendships and online whatever, I think if we'd have gone back.
Oh, and Dave. Sorry, Dave. Met him.
My Dave.
It is time once again to thank this podcast's biggest supporters. Without you. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Hey, Santa. Without you, this podcast does not exist. So thank you, Leo Guinan. Thank you, Kirk Hofstrom. Thank you, Casey Elliott. Thank you, Sarah Delano. Thank you, Justin Allingham. Thank you, Blushing Crafter. Thank you, Jamie Young. And thank you, Beth Jones. Without y'all, this podcast cannot exist.
And yeah, again, the same. Taller than he looks on the cameras, guys, just saying. And so am I. By the way, anyone that thinks I'm like 5'6", anyone that still watches me from Twitch, which there are some of you, thank you. It's good to know the 100 Acre Wood are still around, so thank you very much. If you are watching this, say hi. I am 6'2", okay? Actually, stand up.
Let's go.
I am not fucking short, all right? Okay, good.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Who's short now, bitch?
This is where Lobel's like, no, I'm like 6 foot, this motherfucker's huge. But yeah, so I am not as a small little, but yeah, it's interesting. I think if you went back 5-10 years,
yeah,
I think it's very different because people didn't use the internet and online the same.
Correct.
Even Skype, it wasn't the same. I think Zoom and to a lesser extent Skype and things like that, mainly because of COVID, has completely changed how we use and Twitch being live streaming, and it really changes how we interact because we're more just chatting to someone now.
Yeah.
Rather than the past where I think it was a lot different.
It's good to talk.
If you're on my podcast, that's the name. If you're on his podcast, go and check out his Good Talk podcast. It will be in the link below.
That's a brilliant title. It's good to talk. That title alone is what I feel is the most important thing to do. Is shoot the shit, talk to each other. Don't try to save each other, but just try to be there.
If anyone wants to use Shoot the Shit on YouTube, if you get it as a channel, I will subscribe, because YouTube's really dodgy about swearing, and feel fucking free.
But, I mean, both of us hide behind certain things. I hide behind the fact that, you know, I'm still not over that issue from a couple years back, and now I'm killing myself, you know, helping. And you hide behind the fact that in my opinion, that people can love you.
I'm a miserable bastard. He just won't admit it.
I will not admit it. And that's the hardest thing.
He drinks.
So do you, but you don't get drunk.
I'm English.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of our national fucking sport.
Yeah. Yeah, but everyone hides behind something, and
well, everyone presents. I mean, I've said this a lot. No matter who you are, everyone kind of masks to a point anyway.
yeah,
Even if they like, as why I've always hated this. Oh, I'm the same person in real life as I am online. No, you're not. You're not, because you may seem, and there may be a lot of it, but that may also mean that anybody else, you mask the same way. Because in the same way, and I think when people hear me say that, they take it the wrong way. If you go to the shop, you will give a persona to that person at the shop differently than you give to the barmaid at the pub you go to your, I don't know, your bookie, to your friends. You give a different face, and so this idea of like, I'll know everything that I give out online is no. It's that's the thing.
Right.
I've heard that
that's
a lot.
the argument I'm making. Is
yeah,
that
I've heard
everything
a lot.
you put out online isn't face to face. It isn't real.
No, but face to face isn't real either.
I think okay, a good point. See, you goddamn. Go ahead.
I'm just patting on the head. It's just easier. But that's the thing.
But you can pat me on the head all you want. I will not give up on this topic.
But it's just the thing in real life can be just as. See, the thing is that what I hate is to call it, because it's not fake, and I know that's what people will say. Is, oh, you're just saying online's fake then, or you put something fake forward. But that's also the argument that every neurotypical puts against neurodivergent.
Correct.
Masking doesn't mean fake. It just means that it's the easiest way for you to interact with that community, that social event, because that's the best way that your mind can cope with it.
Correct. However, as much as it might be an impossible goal, I like impossible, so I'm going to meet everyone that I've spoken with in real life.
Yeah, I mean,
like if I tell you online on a Zoom call on a thing, hey, by the way, you have ADHD, you have autism, you have OCD, you have this, and you're struggling. Sorry, that was begun again.
that was just the end of the sentence.
Yeah, if
you're struggling.
Sit there with you, and I will sit there with you in real life also.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with that. I think that the thing is that the thing we need to think is that the online thing, we don't need to think of it as fake or fake personas, because I think a lot of online people get that. I mean, think of your favourite YouTuber. 9 times out of 10, everyone's going to say, "Oh, well, they're like that because shut up. You don't know who they are." But also, in real life, people are going to be the same. And if in real life, you know, because again, autism, ADHD, OCD, depression, whatever it is, so many times get told, "Oh, but you're faking them because you're masking." No, that's not what it is.
Oh no,
But so many times people are told that as well, because it's like, "Oh, but if it's not you, then," but that's not the case. I actually think that neurotypicals, in terms of day-to-day life, probably mask more than neurodivergent.
100%.
Except they're too pussy ass to fucking say it.
Exactly. 100%.
Because they'll go into work and treat their. This is the difference. So let's say you've got neurodivergence. You are less likely to buddy up with your boss because you need to. You're more likely to tell them fuck off if they get on your nerves.
100%.
But a lot of other people will just, buddy up. Oh no, that's the bullshit about it.
Neurotypical's power trip. Neurodivergence lead. There's a huge difference in those two things.
I try my best not to.
No, you try, but you do. That's naturally you do it.
I'll step the fucking back. Someone else get the reins. God damn it. I'd rather not.
But
anyone
rather not. But
there's now people out there going, "Oh, but you're always in charge." That's because you fuckers don't step up.
Right. 100%. That's the entire point.
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's a thing about relationships. I think the thing we just all need to get used to is that all of us are going to put on a little bit of bullshit from time to time, no matter what it is. Because we need to for ourselves. That is not someone. Shut up. That is not someone. That is not someone being disingenuous. That's not being someone lying. It's just someone trying to not feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. But unfortunately, because of the online world, it's been moved over to, oh, people online aren't real. Or for neurodivergence, it's been moved to, well, they're just lazy and lying. And that's the thing.
But isn't that a little bit dangerous in some ways? Is if you're only comfortable online, that you stay online forever instead of getting out into the real world. To me, that's a little bit dangerous.
So, there's two things I have issue with there. One,
okay,
I think the real world can be online. And two, but two, also, for some people. For some people,
right,
they're far better online.
Hey, I'll tell you this.
That's the thing.
That's the whole premise.
Yeah, it's
whatever works for you works, and then you fucking do it.
Yeah, well, I'll go back to the thing. Again, anybody from the 100 Acre Woods, again, thank you. I know there's at least two of you, if you're still watching. Thank you for the 100 Acre Woods still being here, because fucking hell, I've been gone for a year. The fact you followed me to YouTube, Jesus Christ, thank you. But it's, I think, well, I used to say, what works for you, which sounds like my stupid line, but it's true. But if it works for you, then why would you do something else?
Exactly.
Which is also why, maybe, we shouldn't try and change certain people with mental health issues behaviour to suit what you think is normal. I'm looking at a few of psychologists in America that are currently being sued. Anyway,
but now don't get all over America for this.
No, it's just that they're the ones being sued the most. But it's, I think I get what you mean, but I think we have to be careful.
That's my biggest.
But yeah, I think
that's my biggest weakness.
Yeah, we need to.
I know what to say and I can't say it well.
Well, it's not just that. I think there's also a bias for you, because you do have a bias against the kind of.
What I have a bias against is people literally staying in front of the computer screen for days on end, doing absolutely, like, yes, they might. They're helping. They're doing great things.
Yeah.
But the second they step away from that computer and they go out into the real world where relationships actually, like, you can't just click the X button. Like, you can't just say end call. That is a human being.
That's called an Irish goodbye.
But you see my point on this, like, that matters. So, like, social skills do at some point matter, and I swear to you,
everyone that's ever met me going, don't tell them that. But there's stuff for me too, though. Yeah.
Everyone that you have fucking met.
However, when I'm back at home, I walk out my door, I will go to the shop, and then I will come home. I will do that, and then I'll come home.
Right.
And no one knows where I live, because they don't need to. So I am the other side of it. I am far more comfortable in front of my screen. So I like being outside, but I feel comfortable in front of my screen.
Right.
Because I don't have to deal with other people judging, assuming. I just deal with what I want to watch on YouTube, the work I need to do, doing a podcast. I have the control, and the assumptions of others is things that I've had to deal with my entire life, because of my size, because of the way I talk, because of whatever. I have an assumption online because I get to press the red button and tell them to fuck off.
Right.
And that's why in real life, if something happens, I walk away. I disappear. Because why do I have to put up with them? Just because they want to have what you call real life is, for me.
It's not what I am calling real life.
No, because online can be real life too. So it is what you're calling real life. So it is what you're calling real life. Because you specified it differently.
This is where you get a little bit defensive in every discussion that we have.
No. It's not
when it comes down to actual people.
No. It's because you specified outside is real life. You specified it. I can rewind it and play this thing on the podcast.
No, and that's 100% fine. But what you should notice is that when I say those things, it's not what I actually mean. So you should be smart enough to be able to read.
Well, I don't agree with smart. But anyway,
right.
There will be a book coming soon, I swear to God. Smart State of Mind, just look for it in Amazon at some point. No, but what I mean is, I'm using that as an indicator. There's nothing about smart or anything else.
Right.
If you give a specific, I'm going to answer the specific,
I know.
not branch out.
That's autism.
So that's my point is, if you look at real life, so if I'm dealing with the outside real life, then I don't deal with that shit for too long. I don't have to. If I don't have to, why would I?
Because it's a good question, and you're going to hate the answer. You're going to know what the answer is that I'll say. Is because when you actually get away from what's comfortable, then you actually live.
But I've lived fine without it. There's plenty of people. Most of the so how many of the top YouTubers do you think lived? My point is, how many of the top YouTubers lived before they were behind a screen for days on end?
But the thing is, they're filming living, like they're doing things outside of a studio.
Sidemen, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all just in their own homes.
Right, but most, like Mr. Beast, your favorite,
just behind a screen.
Well, to start.
For the first 8 years.
To start.
Yeah.
So then they branch out to leaving that space and going into the actual real world. And
the first thing Mr. Beast did after having a bad interaction with wait, because my point is I'm still continuing. Is the first thing Mr. Beast did, because of interactions badly in the outside world, was to buy and renovate a complex in which he lives now. He lives on his own complex, which is where they also film.
Right.
So he lives within that complex.
Where they film. As
in his crew. But he
has people around him.
When he wishes them to be. No, when he wishes them to be. He lives there. With security, I'm sure, at some point. But he lives in there. He's got his own little... I only know because Mr. Who's the Boss went and visited. He's got his own room. He doesn't he has his own little room in there, sectioned off, with ensuite. It's not like he's got anything else. He has then brought himself back in because that's better for him. Now, what I'm not saying is that that's going to be the same for everyone. My point is, you don't need to be offline to live. You don't need to be offline to see something better. For some people,
correct,
you do.
Correct.
In the same way as for some people, you probably should get offline. It'll be better. Right. I think
that's
absolutely true. The bad argument is to assume that everyone needs it. And I'm not saying you're making that argument.
I'm not.
I'm just waiting for a couple of older mothers to say that in the comments. Your 36-year-old is staying in the basement. I'm sorry. But that's the problem. Like and even if you feel that you don't need to be comfortable in the real world or whatever, I wasn't comfortable before to the point where I've had a shitty time at certain times in life.
Yeah.
I don't see the need to continue that. And having to continue with the biggest thing for me is other people's assumptions on me because of certain things. I don't need to deal with them being dicks because any response I have to that fuels their own assumption.
Right.
So I'm far more comfortable.
So can I tell you just like one thing real quick before we... I won't assume anything about you.
Well, no, and that's why I talk to you online.
I think it's fucking fun. It's fucking fun to hang out with you.
That's why I talk to you online.
Spark has started a fundraising effort for Crisis Text Line. We have a goal of $19 per episode, as $19 supports just one person in their time of crisis with their mental health. If you would like to donate through our fundraiser titled Warren's Infinity, the link is listed in the episode's description. Lauren was my wife's best friend and loved by all who came into contact with her.
At first. And now you're here at my fucking house.
And what's the next thing we'll be doing over the next couple of days? Talking on lunch.
It's very true. It may have started online, but it's...
And will continue so.
Right. Until the next meetup.
And then
we'll
go back.
Until the next
we'll go back.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
it's sustained by...
It's fun for me.
Well, yeah, it's whichever one is sustained by the way in which that person feels comfortable.
Right.
is the main thing, and I feel comfortable with that. And that's not to say, by the way, I'm not being held here against my will. It's fine, and I'm pretty sure I could take it. I mean,
I don't know.
There are a lot of fireworks. There's probably firepower. I mean, I am in Florida, but you know, I think that there's comfortability, and that's fine. But that's also fine, and I think
it takes it to a different level.
But I also think it's something very specific for certain mental health issues as well. Is there's a level of comfortability, especially between neurodivergents and neurotypicals, that neurotypicals too often try to step over and step into.
I know.
And that's probably where a lot of my issue comes from. Is they don't step into, because it's like they don't need to act like you. They don't need to interact the way that you do, because they're not doing anything wrong.
Right.
If they're doing something wrong, fine, that's different. Yeah. But if they're not, leave them the fuck alone. They're fine.
I know.
Parents with kids with mental health issues.
Yeah, and no, I totally agree with that. And that's hurt my life immensely. Is, you know, people I meet, it's more of like, oh, you should do this. You should do this. Can I do this? Please do this. Please do this. And by the end of the day, I'm like, I don't. Just let me fucking help myself and someone else. Like, I'm done. Like, oh, you should do this. You should do this. How is that gonna fucking change the world? Like, it's not.
I'm usually called too aggressive, and I'm like, is that just because I'm 6?
But that's why I fucking love you, is because you're so aggressive.
But I'm not.
I know.
And that's the thing. I think for a lot of people, the aggression.
Neurotypicals, you appear to be.
Because I'm bigger than them. That's not my fucking. That's called genetics. It's science, people. Learn it. I'm upset. But I mean, that's the thing. It's better something again.
Yeah.
And it's just people just need to be able to be comfortable with what they are. Now, obviously, if we're talking about relationships, if you've got one person online that is so comfortable online and one person that is not comfortable online, that might be an issue. I mean, that may clash a little bit. That may be I don't know. That's gonna struggle a bit. But it's just, you know.
And speaking of relationships, my wife has cooked up.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna get some food.
Off this podcast.
So I don't know.
Hello, sweetheart.
There was no point to this podcast, because there never is. But hopefully you've had a good New Year, because this is going up. This will be going up for both of us, I believe, on the 8th. So there'll be a slightly different version, because it's have different intro and outro and stuff like that. But yeah,
I like
be
the
going
epic shit. He likes the normal 30 seconds, and you know, I like.
He's American. He likes to pretend
big thing.
It's small man syndrome. What can I say? Anyway, but this will be going up on the 8th. So you better see it then on either channel. If you're on one of our channels, go and check out the description for the other channel will be down below. It doesn't matter which one you're looking at, and if you look at the other one, like, we're going to be on each other's podcast again, so go and do it. Stop arguing. Even if you just watch the podcast of us talking, it's fine. But hopefully you've enjoyed this and you had a good Christmas and a good New Year. Apparently it's still both here, but we'll see you again next time. Thanks, everyone.